Hi guys, my name is Kaan and welcome to another very cool video. Today I'm having here a guest on the channel who will teach you an incredible card trick that I'm pretty sure you will love. The guest today is gonna be Nathan from A Million Card Tricks. So if you like what you see, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video along with a subscription on this channel and of course on Nathan's channel. It is linked up here on the screen right now and of course in the description box below. But that being said, let's jump straight into the video.
Hey guys, A Million Card Tricks here. So before I get started, I just want to thank KaanReviews for featuring me on his channel. And today I have a really awesome trick to show you guys. I think you guys are going to absolutely love this trick. It's a really cool idea inspired by the magician named Mark Elsden. I saw this idea in one of his tricks in one of his lectures, and I thought it was a genius idea. So I wanted to sort of create my own trick out of it. And this is the idea that I came up with. So I hope you guys enjoy this trick. Alright guys, so here's the performance for the trick. So before we get started, I just want to mention that I actually have a prediction inside of my pocket. I won't show it to you quite yet, but I will reveal it at the end of the trick. So for this trick, we can have the deck be shuffled just like this. We can actually give it some overhand shuffles as well, if the spectator would like me to. But you guys can see here that all of these cards are completely random and completely shuffled. So for this trick, we actually need the spectator to select, let's say 4 random cards, because I want these 4 cards to just be from completely random places within this shuffled deck. So I'm gonna have the spectator hold out their index finger, and I'm just gonna spread through, and they can touch any 4 cards that they like. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, let's say that. And they can always change their mind for these 4 cards if they would like to, but it doesn't really matter. And you guys can see that if you had touched any other card, would have been a completely different card, but you decided on these 4 over here. So we can set the deck aside, and I actually want to give these 4 selections over to you. But before I do, I just want to demonstrate what I'm going to have you do in a minute. I want you to take these 4 selections. Don't look at them quite yet, because it will keep the mystery alive. But I want you to take these 4 selections and just start mixing them up like this. So I would hand these over to the spectator and they would start mixing up the selections like this in their hand. And I tell them that we are going to be eliminating 3 of these cards and we're going to be narrowing it down to 1 single selection. But in order to do this, we need to eliminate 3 of them. So we're going to have you basically drop any one of these cards onto the table face up, and that will be the first elimination. So any one of these cards, you can just stop shuffling and drop one face up on the table like this, okay? So there, the 4 of diamonds was the first elimination. So now they can continue doing this. They can shuffle the cards, and whenever they like, they can drop another card. Okay, 2 of hearts. They have 2 cards left. Shuffle them up as much as they like, and they can drop any one on the table. Let's say they drop that one. Okay, 7 of clubs, and they're left with 1 card in their hand. I tell them not to look at it, just keep it in their hand, okay? Now remember at the beginning of the trick, I mentioned how I had a prediction inside of my pocket. Now, before I show it to you, I just want the spectator to confirm that the contents of this prediction are 100% accurate and that I'm not cheating in any way. Because I want you to actually take your hand and just reach inside of my pocket and feel what I have inside my pocket. They would take their hand and place it inside of my pocket, and they would confirm that there is only 1 single playing card inside of my pocket. They would literally be feeling this by themselves. So I tell them, okay, great. And if there are other people watching, the spectator would confirm this for everyone else watching. So now look, I will actually go in and show you what the prediction was from the beginning, the 3 of spades. And it really is the only card in my pocket for everyone else. You guys can see that. The 3 of spades. You eliminated these 3 cards, and you also could have touched any 4 cards out of this entire deck, but you landed on this single card. How crazy would it be if this card was the 3 of spades? And yeah, that is the trick, guys. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick that you just saw. So recently, this has become one of my favorite tricks because it just looks so fair and will completely fool your spectators. They'll have absolutely no idea how you could predict a completely freely selected card beforehand in your pocket. And this is how you're going to do it. So the entire principle of this trick is based on the idea of having multiple outs. Now what that means is for whatever card the spectator picks, the ending of the trick is going to be a little bit different. Now in this case, the best part about this trick is that each out for every single card that the spectator picks, they all actually look and feel exactly the same. There's no real difference between any of the outs. The only difference between them is the card that you reveal, but every time you perform this trick, it's gonna look exactly the same as it did in the performance that you just saw. So what is the secret to this trick? I will show you right now. You have a little bit of a setup in your pockets, and this is what you have in your pockets. You have two special cards, and both of these cards are double face cards, meaning that they have cards printed on both sides. Now, if you don't have access to these, you can take two cards and glue them together, or you can use some double-sided tape to stick them together. The only flaw with this is that you can't do one aspect of the trick, which is have the spectator feel inside of your pocket. That's why I would recommend getting some actual printed gaffs, and that way you can do the part when the spectator reaches in and feels that it's only one card, because these cards are seriously one card. They aren't two cards stuck together. These are just printed on both sides. So once you have these two cards, you're just going to remember these cards here, and you're actually going to pull out the four cards that go along with these gaffs. So here in this case, we have the 7 and the 4 of diamonds that go along with this gaff, the 7 of clubs and the 4 of diamonds. And over here, we have the 2 of hearts and the 3 of spades that go along with this gaff. These 4 cards over here, these are just 4 normal cards. These can be mixed up, it doesn't matter what order they're in, but these 4 cards are actually going to go on the bottom of the deck, and you're going to be forcing those onto the spectator. And these 2 gaffs are going to be placed in your left and right pocket, and what I like to do is I like to place the higher values up front like this, so the higher values are currently facing outside. It doesn't really matter which way you put them in, it just matters that you remember which side is facing and which cards are showing. So you take the cards and you can place them in your pocket however you like. I'm just gonna do it like this, so this is how it would look inside of my pockets right now. And once you do that, you're almost ready to go. There's one little extra step that is not entirely necessary, but is a good extra little precaution, is you can just take a normal random card and you can place that on the bottom of the deck. This will only act as a cover card so that if the spectator notes what the bottom card is for some reason, it might show up later. This bottom card will just help cover that, so it makes it look like you aren't using cards from the bottom. So once you're in this position, you're pretty much ready to go. So you can take the cards, give them a shuffle, just maintain the bottom 5 cards at least. As you shuffle the cards like this, and you can also give them a little overhand shuffle, but just once again take the bottom half and place it back on the bottom. That will keep those 5 cards intact. And now you can take the cards and spread them out on the table, and the spectator is not going to be noting the bottom 5 cards or anything, so you can just spread it out normally because it just looks like a normal shuffled deck. So now what you can do is square up the cards, and all you have to do now is get rid of this cover card. So I do this by getting a break on that bottom card, and I'm going to swing cut about half the cards or a third of the cards. Either way is fine. I'm going to swing cut those cards into my left hand, and my left hand pinky is actually going to drag along that bottom card with this packet. So I'm going to drag that bottom card along like this. Okay, so that bottom card will now get attached to this packet over here. Now I can swing cut just a couple more little packets, but now all I have to do is drop this, and that will actually control those 4 force cards to the bottom of the pack. And now once you do that, you can actually give these a couple of cuts, and now you can actually just really freely cut these onto the table like this, and it really does look like you're mixing up the cards. So once you're in this position, your 4 force cards are on the bottom, and now you're going to be performing the Vernon substitute transfer. That's the force that you're going to be doing here. So all you have to do is have the spectator touch any 4 cards in the middle of the deck. The only thing you have to make sure is that they don't touch any of these 4 bottom cards. So just spread through it pretty slowly like this, 1 card at a time. And that will just make sure that the spectator does not pick any of your force cards. So once the spectator has chosen 4 cards over here, all you're gonna do is spread all the way to the bottom, and you're just gonna eyeball these 4 cards here. What you're gonna be doing is getting a break above them. All you have to do is square up the cards, and I just tend to lift up all the cards above those 4 cards and insert my pinky into that gap right over there. So now I'm in this position over here. The 4 cards are now underneath my break like this, and these 4 cards are out jogged in the center of the deck. Now I'm gonna execute the switch. So as I did before with that cover card, I'm actually gonna be using my left hand here to sort of ride along as I grab these out jogged cards here in the pack. So I'm gonna use my left hand and carry these 4 bottom cards along as I lift up my hand like this to pull out these 4 out jogged cards. And all I'm gonna do is pull out these cards and keep my pinky break. So I'm actually gonna keep my pinky there, separating these 4 cards here from these 4 cards here. So now I have a gap in between those cards. And all I have to do now is take the pack and place it directly on top of everything. So now I'm basically in this position. So I now have the entire deck on top, and my pinky is now in there, and the 4 force cards are beneath my pinky. At this point, I take every single card above the break, so the entire deck, except for these 4 cards underneath my pinky. I take every single card there, I turn it over in my hand, I hold it like this, and then I take it and spread out everything. And that just shows that they could have touched any one of those cards, but they settled on these 4. And what you've just done is you've actually switched out those 4 randomly touched cards for the 4 force cards. So once you're in this position, you can just hold these 4 force cards, and the trick is almost over. Now the entire rest of the trick is really up to the spectator, because what they're gonna be doing is they're gonna be shuffling these cards, and they're going to eliminate any 3 of these that they want. It's completely up to them. And whichever card they land on, you're going to know which card to pull out of your pocket. And that's really how the trick works. So you can shuffle this as much as you like, and when they're done shuffling, they can drop one on the table, let's say that one, and make sure you tell them to drop it face up on the table, and that will make sure that you can see which card has been dropped, because that will let you know which card to pull out at the end, because you'll be able to narrow it down by seeing the other 3 cards. So let's say now the next one is the 2 of hearts. You can make a really, really big show about this. You can say, really, you can have a completely free choice. If you go with the other one, you might go to bed later tonight and regret your decision. So maybe you just go with your gut feeling. You can really, really ham it up at this point. But yeah, just make sure that they have a completely free choice. Whichever one they want is completely fine. So at this point, you're pretty much done with the trick. So they've dropped these 3 cards on the table face up, and just by looking at these cards, I know that the card that they've left is the 4 of diamonds, because I remember that the 2 and 3 are together and the 7 and 4 are together. So the only card I don't see here is the 4. And that means that they're holding on to that card, which means that I now know which card to pull out of my pocket. But here's the next important step. I now know that it's the 4 of diamonds, which I know is in my left pocket right now. But the thing is, if I pull this card out normally right now, it's actually going to show the 7 of clubs. So all I have to do beforehand is, before I pull this out, I just have to reach into my pocket and rotate the card, and then I can pull out the card and show that it's the 4 of diamonds, and then it will be able to match the prediction. But before I do any of that, I will have the spectator reach into my pocket and have them confirm that there is only one single card in my pocket. And I believe this part of the trick just makes it so much more fooling, because spectators could believe after they watch this trick that there were multiple cards in your pocket, and that would be how you did the multiple outs. But if you have the spectator reach in and feel that there is seriously only one card in your pocket, that will just completely debunk that theory from their mind. And then when you reveal the card later, they'll have absolutely no idea how this trick was done. So once they're done feeling the card, I now take my hand and I reach into the pocket, and I'm going to rotate this card because it needs to be rotated to show the correct card. So I pull it out and I've rotated it, so now it is the 4 of diamonds. All I have to do is just don't flip it over. So just take it, set it on the table. No one's gonna think twice about this card because spectators just felt it. It was a random card. You've just shown that card. And now what you can do is you can actually take your pocket and you can turn your pocket inside out. For everyone else who doesn't believe that there is only a single card in your pocket, you can seriously show them that there is nothing else in your pocket. Never bring attention to the other pocket. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Once you're done, you set that on the table, you explain that they had a completely free choice of 4 cards, and then they narrowed it down from 4 to 1 over here. So now you can go ahead and have them flip over the card, and impossibly it will just match your prediction every single time. And yeah, that is the trick, guys. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I think it's a super practical effect to go out and perform to people. It's super fooling. I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this. Once again, I just want to say thank you to KaanReviews for featuring me on his channel. If you guys want to see the video he made for me, go ahead and be sure to check that out as well. See you guys next time. Bye.